Thanks for joining us on another episode of No Brains Just Ball. My name's Jake. With me today I've got Dem and I've got Anthony. Unfortunately, we don't have Nick here today. He can't be with us, but we're going to go through the top 10 picks of the season this season and how they've played in the Summer League, last year in college, and a few strengths and weaknesses with that. So we'll get straight into the number one pick, who is Markel Fultz, who was a point guard, 6'5" from Washington, averaged 23 and 5 in his freshman year.
Well, I really like this pick for Philly. I think they definitely needed some backcourt help going into this year. And, one of his strengths is good three-point shooting, and that will really help Philly's lack of shooting around. So they've added that with JJ Redick as well in the offseason. So I think those two are going to make a really dangerous backcourt. I think also you saw during his college game with 5.9 assists per game, he's really looks to provide for his teammates, and I think that's something that can only improve in the NBA. And he made one block a game. A lot of things was chased down and that sort of thing. So I think he'll also provide a bit of a difference on D and excellent hustle. I think he's going to be really good for the culture at Philly and, a bit of their cult status with Joel Embiid and TLC and a couple others. So, yeah.
How many minutes a game does he get? Does he go straight into the starting role and be that 30-minute a game point guard?
I think you'd probably...
I think you give him the first crack.
Yeah, you'd give him the first crack, see how he goes, and then either way, maybe down to 26 if he's doing well, maybe up to 34, 35, but you definitely don't want to smash him minutes-wise, and we all know Philly had really poor luck with injuries with their rookies, just Simmons and Joel Embiid and Nerlens Noel before that.
You hope they don't go too timid, though.
Yeah.
Having that in the history and knowing that to be the case, you still need these guys. These are the future. These are the most exciting parts of them that could take them to a playoffs team. So you don't want them to be, not playing them because they might get injured. Whereas I know he got injured during the Summer League, but the talent's obviously there. He's the number one pick. He's a really, really good addition to the team.
I think the main sort of concern with Fultz, and definitely will depend on how many minutes he ends up actually getting, is he's got a bit of question on mentality, can get caught a bit of ball watching on D, and can be a bit inconsistent with effort. And I think that's why, even though he's got good block numbers, can provide good defensive highlights, I think in the pros he really needs to switch on a little bit more consistently over that time.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
Would you guys have picked him over Lonzo Ball?
I'd rather have Lonzo Ball in my team, but in terms of Philly, what they needed, I don't think they need to build themselves up. I think if they had Lonzo and LeVar, I don't think that would have been good for the culture of the. So I think
on what they've built for the last 5-6 years with all the new young players and picks they've had.
Although these two could turn out to be the two best point guards in the NBA in 7 years. So we don't know that, but in terms of that, I'll sit on the fence.
And with Lonzo Ball, I think it's good sort of in a romantic way that he is at the Lakers. He is from Chino Hills and played at UCLA and
still can't believe it happened.
Yeah.
all the time LeVar was saying, he's going to the Lakers, he's going to the Lakers.
And with Magic Johnson there as well, as GM and that sort of stuff, and looking after the basketball operations nowadays, and you've got a mini Magic Johnson in Lonzo Ball with his passing and his height from the point guard position. He's an excellent 3-point shooter as well. And even though I'm not a Lakers fan, I'm really excited to see how the Lakers are going to go this year. I'm also looking to see who's going to put Lonzo on the first poster. I think there's going to be a fair few NBA players.
Especially young blokes. Yeah, young blokes who want to get right at his face.
I think Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid have been talking it up a little bit on Twitter, so I think one of those will really go for it. And it's going to be really interesting to see. But the problem with Lonzo Ball, which could show on his getting put on a poster, is struggles a little bit defensively to fight through screens and that sort of stuff. And he's not a massive point scorer. He was only 16.6 per game over 40 minutes through his college career. So that's a little bit lower than De'Aaron Fox and Markel Fultz was at 23.2. So he'll probably need to improve that. I think most of the problems he has is due to his lack of mid-range game.
Yeah.
So he only made 12 field goals that weren't from the rim or downtown. So in that, I know Houston never want to shoot those mid-range twos, but sometimes you get forced into doing it, and Lonzo Ball doesn't.
You need to be able to do it.
Doesn't look like he's capable at this stage.
In the big leagues, you need to be able to do that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. But, I mean, you saw him getting, a couple of triple-doubles in the Summer League and, all the hype at the moment. I mean, we haven't played a genuine game yet, but all the hype seems to be warranted at the moment. And I think he'll deliver. I think, he's going to fit right in. He's going to be a starter. He's going to be playing huge minutes, and he'll post really good numbers. I think that's just how it is.
What he does look like he already has is he looks very composed. Looks like he's not really worried too much about the fanfare and that sort of stuff. He sort of lets that happen around him. But once he gets on the court, he believes in himself and he's really confident in what he can do. And some of the lob passes he was throwing already, within the first minute of games.
First play, he threw a lob to Ingram.
Yeah. I think we all sort of dislike Laker bandwagoners, but the league's got a bit of an extra vibe when the Lakers are going well, and as long as it's not too well.
Miss out on the playoffs just.
I think one more thing with Lonzo, to talk about his character, I like it when he was, in his first game, I think he was shooting really poorly, but he kept taking the shots. He kept taking the responsibility, even though he missed. Then he got a couple, he had mixed results, but having that confidence and belief that,
just to keep shooting.
Yeah, that composure to keep going and knowing that you're the man, so you've got to do what you can for the team.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's a good sign for what he could produce.
Oh, no doubt. And I think when you talk about Lonzo, you kind of have to mention LeVar.
Yeah.
He's a bit of an interesting character, as you could tell from everything that's happened in the past year while Lonzo's been at college. And
it's hard for me to really have an opinion too much on LeVar because I would really like to see what he's like away from the spotlight when it comes to Lonzo Ball and his basketball. And, it can go one of two ways. You could be completely loud mouth and that sort of stuff to him where you'd be like, oh, but behind closed doors, he might be, very rational, very logical, and they could be a very focused and well-worked pair.
Yeah. I think there's he's got a business mind. And you can tell. I mean, the promotion and that sort of thing, you can liken it to Conor McGregor in the UFC, where you've got to build yourself up, you've got to build your product up because that's the point of difference you've got with everyone else. Yeah. But you can tell that he knows how it all works and he knows what to do. So it'll be interesting to see. I can't wait to see the Lakers play, which is more than I can say for the past few years.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's definitely an improvement on previous years.
Yeah.
We moved to a third pick, Jason Tatum.
Really like this pick for them.
Yeah, the 6'8" forward. He's got a 6'11" wingspan from Duke. He's got a really solid post-up game where I think he was at 1.03 points per possession over 30 attempts. I think he'll really fit in the mold of a small ball four going forward. He's definitely got a couple of areas to work on.
Oh, no doubt, yeah.
And, he's for 6'8", he's got a decent wingspan, but he's not an explosive athlete. Whereas someone like a Josh Jackson sort of has that over him.
Yeah. Which they were tossing up those two picks. It looks like they're pretty much the same player.
Yeah. Jackson's a better two-way, probably.
Two-way
player,
yeah. Defensive.
More damaging, sort of offensive.
And, for all we know, Tatum might not be at the Celtics to start the year. We don't know what's going to happen with the Isaiah Thomas trade, where it's potentially going to get vetoed because of a hip injury. That will Cavs push for Tatum, maybe. So, it's going to be interesting to see. But Tatum, I think, to really excel in the NBA level, he needs to be more of a willing passer. Can sort of get stuck a little bit too much in the isolation plays, and if you're not putting up efficient enough numbers, you can really cop it on social media and from your teammates and
passing the ball.
Yeah, so he really needs to work on the passing the ball.
You could see by that in his summer league stats, he was averaging less than 2 assists per game, and he played 6 matches.
Yep, and even at Duke at 33 minutes a game, he was barely 2 assists per game as well. So got areas to work on, but 6'8", shoots dangerously from 3 without excelling at 34%. So you have to respect it.
Yeah. And pull down the boards.
Yeah. Going forward,
what I find really impressive is his field goal percentage. The way he shot in the summer league, he was 45% around the field, and I think that's what the Celtics might need this year. I think just someone to be able to. Well, does he come off the bench or does he start? Because you've got Jaylen Brown in there as well.
The thing about the Celtics is they've got Marcus Smart as well off the bench, who's a bit of a gritty defender as well, and it's really interesting to see. I think we'll have to sort of wait until preseason. I think it sort of depends on who is shooting the better. Brad Stevens as a coach, flexible, not gonna make a rash decision, but he's not afraid to make changes.
Yeah. No, definitely. And he'll change up his
starting.
I
think we've seen with Danny Ainge as well at the GM that he'll put the pressure on. And we've seen it with Isaiah Thomas. He knew that Isaiah Thomas wasn't the way to win a championship, and he's just shopped him off to Cleveland.
I think you'll see Tatum's. I reckon he'll start on the bench potentially, only because there's quality there in the.
Well, they got Gordon Hayward.
Yeah, exactly. And then I mean it depends how he fits into the playing as a power forward potentially. But I mean, if you're talking about starters, like guys that can have a real impact, I mean you got to look at pick 4, Josh Jackson.
Yeah.
I mean he'll really add something to the Suns. Because he's good on both ends, probably slightly better defensively, but he's got the rebounding power. He can score, he cuts through nicely, and I think he's a really good young guy to go along with Booker, to go along with
Bledsoe.
Yeah, Bledsoe and Ulis, he'll come through. So they've got a good young core, and Jackson could be at the forefront.
I mean, coming out of college, he's been likened really to a bit of Andre Iguodala. Geez, that's not a bad comparison to make if he can get there.
Finals MVP.
Yeah, with being such an explosive athlete, a bit better facilitator of the ball than you'd expect. And he really does go down as a bit of a genuine wild card in the draft. He could, as well as he could go. I don't think there'd be too many people that would be overly surprised if he doesn't develop into an NBA starter and is purely just a rotation piece for the next 6 to 8 years.
Yeah.
And that really comes down is sometimes he can struggle to score in the half court, especially if his shot off the pass isn't flowing. And he's also a very weak free throw shooter. That's 56% through his college career, and that can really get exploited. You see some coaches in the NBA, they're not afraid to send people to the line.
Even a first year rookie, not afraid to put him there, put the pressure on him.
But I mean, the challenge for him, that's not impossible, is to go out and improve that. I mean, Blake Griffin was a poor free throw shooter in his first year, and now he's at over 70%, and is someone you have to respect from a free throw line now. So there's definitely no reason why Josh Jackson can't put in the hard work and become that sort of player. But if he can become like a Iguodala in defense, be a solid enough 3-point shooter, he's going to be in the NBA for a long time. Absolutely.
I like his chances more than maybe, you're saying potentially be like the role sort of player. I'm really big on
Josh Jackson.
Yeah. I think he can add something immediately, and I think he can really take the league by storm. So I obviously need to improve those areas of his game, but that versatility, you can't buy that sort of thing.
They've got a wide range of players that could play in the small forward position.
Very different types of players.
So should he get the starting role, or should he with these loads of players? Do you see him?
I think he should start.
I think with Phoenix, there's still another year probably away from maybe potentially challenging for playoff positions. So why not throw him in the deep end?
Why not give him a go? Yeah.
Yeah, especially. I mean, you can look at the power forwards, and Bender and Chris can fight for that spot. I guess it's either Jackson or is it TJ Warren potentially? It's one of those two. He did a bit last year, yeah. Warren, I mean, I think he's only 23 or 24, so it's not like he's old, but I think he's more of that bit player that would be better off the bench. I think put Jackson straight in there, see what he's got.
By the next pick, so De'Aaron Fox from Sacramento, the 6'3" point guard. I was pretty big on this guy coming out of the draft. He played a pretty dangerous NCAA tournament and was pretty good against Lonzo Ball in their matchup. And
some say he beat him.
Yeah,
some say he beat him in that.
I think he's a really exciting pick from Sacramento. I feel a little bit unfortunate though that he did go to Sacramento.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
Is it a bit of a waste?
Yeah.
It's a bit of a waste.
he's got an incredible athleticism. Led his college conference in transition points, so
He's very quick.
gets the rebound,
He's very quick,
flies up the court, and he's quite strong at the rim.
especially for a little bloke.
Yeah, and with his assist numbers, 4.6 a game in college, solid enough. However, that could really improve going forward.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'd like him to start, but then they went and got George Hill, and I can't imagine them getting George Hill to have him playing on the bench, at least to start with. So I'd imagine that Fox would probably be the coming off the bench, I think.
Yeah, and the one problem really with Aaron Fox is, throughout his college career, only made 17 threes through 36 games.
Okay.
And,
You'd want.
yeah, and this is the NBA nowadays. You can't
Yeah.
be pulling off those sort of numbers.
Exactly, especially when you can have so much of the ball in your hands.
With his pace and with the way he can finish and that sort of thing.
You can get away with shooting.
Yeah, but you'd sort of want him to become. The hopes are would be another John Wall, maybe a bit better.
Yeah.
If you can
Explosive speed.
if you can get to John Wall's level, I mean that's already
That's
yeah.
exactly right.
But that's something you'll definitely need to work on.
And could he do it at Sacramento? I mean, you're looking at that team. Could that be, because that's a team that might post 80 points a game or something, and which
And he doesn't have much around him too.
exactly. So I mean, that sort of pressure on you as a young guy. Like I'm really high on him as well, but to really see his potential, realize his potential, unless Sacramento change over the next couple of years, which is possible, of course. But
Miracles happen.
yeah, no, we saw Lakers have changed a bit. So, but yeah, Fox might need a move to become that.
And sort of maybe a low key question mark on him is
For our American listeners,
wow. So that would be.
So you need to put in a big preseason.
Yeah.
You'd reckon.
Yeah,
to
you'd want him
bulk
to
up a little bit.
You want him to put on a little bit more muscle so he can fight through the screens a little bit better and that sort of stuff. But he definitely seems like one of those candidates where he doesn't want to put on too much weight because that will
might inhibit his speed and things like that.
So he'll have to work with the staff there to really make sure they find the right balance when it comes to managing his speed.
Yeah.
Versus muscle.
The next pick we had was for the Orlando Magic, and they got a small forward out of Florida State, Jonathan Isaac.
And just quickly, when you talk about Sacramento being a waste ground, you go to Orlando next.
Yeah.
Which one would you prefer? Jeez, but Jonathan Isaac, another big for them, and from Florida State, 6'10". So in the past they signed Biyombo, they already had Vucevic as well. Yeah, real question marks on what Orlando do at times.
they've got Aaron Gordon.
Yeah, but he's some of his strengths. He's a solid free throw shooter for his size, which would be good because Biyombo doesn't.
He's probably 50%.
Jonathan Isaac's he's a big, but he's probably not strong enough yet to deal with the centers. But one of his plus points is that he can pick up a point guard from 94 feet away from the basket, and he can make him work and that sort of stuff. So he'll do well in switches and that sort of stuff. And he's an above-average ball handler, sort of for his height. So
he's known for his defensive end stuff, but I think the main concern for the Orlando Magic is that his offensive game needs improvement, though.
Yeah, well, definitely. Even through his college season, he only had 396 possessions throughout the season, and you compare that to Tatum had 576 and Jackson had 695. So you already see that there's quite a bit of a difference there. He's not spectacular from three. He shot only 16.7% in March and 21.4% in December. So even though his three-point shooting for the season was about one a game at 34%, he definitely can fall off the cliff when it comes to his shooting, and he can be a bit streaky at times. And I definitely think for Jonathan Isaac to really become a role player in the NBA, one, needs to maybe get away from Orlando. That's always a good start. And two, he needs to improve his offense.
Yeah, which is, he's good on the rebounding. Like, he's good with the boards, and that's not what Orlando needs. Especially, they've got a lot of strength.
They're
area,
overpacked with centers and
you see Vucevic. He puts up points and he gets rebounds. They need Isaac to develop his game a little bit more. And then, you don't know. I don't know anything about.
Well, you can edit that bit out as well. But, you know, we're talking about another big, and it's Laurie American going to the Bulls at pick 7 in that trade. You know, for that trade for Jimmy Butler. I have to say I was relieved when I saw Laurie went to the Bulls before the Mavs had the opportunity to ruin their pick and take him. You know, it's harsh on the guy. Though he could be
another Porzingis.
Yeah, he could be. I mean, but he's another 3-point shooter from Europe, tall. You know, all of them, they're all going to get labelled the next Dirk. And we've only ever seen one of them actually become any decent in Porzingis. He needs to get stronger, and he only averages half a block a game in college.
As a 7-footer.
As a 7-footer, you've got to be averaging more than that.
Yeah. But on the plus side, so he's a very strong free throw shooter at, you know, over 80%, and definitely well known for his threes at, you know, over 42% through his college career. So the challenge for him is going to be able to take that over to the pros, where the defense is quite quicker and the 3-point line's further out.
Yeah. I mean, at 7 foot, I mean, we know that you can't teach that, but we know that you can teach him being able to be that defensive positioning to work around. So hopefully
I mean,
works it out. I mean, the team he's at.
I mean, even last week in the 2 games I played, I got 1 block, so on par with half a block a game.
You can probably edit that out. So another person that is an unknown quantity, you know, from Europe is Frank Ntilikina
From Strasbourg.
From Strasbourg, according to Wikipedia, we should preface that with, you know, they chose him above Dennis Smith Jr. So that's who he's going to be compared to the whole time.
It's the Tambling Franklin thing all over again,
it's
isn't
the Billings Bontempelli, which I know all our American listeners, or none of them.
Did the Richmond supporter just go away from Tambling versus Franklin?
Yeah, I think he did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Billings is an excellent player already.
So Frank from Strasbourg is 6'5", which is, he's got some good height for a point guard, but we really don't know much about him in terms of, you know, what could he do? Like, what's he going to provide? He's got some strengths and weaknesses, which I'm sure you'll discuss.
Oh, well, just before going through that, he's only ever played really professional level in France.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, but there is a bit of an unknown quantity when it comes to what he has to offer.
But look who he's up against for that spot.
Yeah, and when you consider what Dante Exum was kind of in that similar way, where he's another tall point guard, hadn't played a US college system, was a bit of an unknown, and he has so far he's struggled to make the grade in the NBA. And I'm worried that Frank could be a similar quantity. You'd hate to say that though, but yeah, because he's 6'5", has an excellent wingspan, can play back both backcourt positions. And he's quick and strong on D. So those are some of his, some
apparent strengths.
Yeah, and that's some of the reasons why he could be able to excel in the NBA. But he is a limited shot creator, and I think you've seen that from averaging only 5 points per game in the last season in France, and that's through 18 minutes. So question marks, for a young kid.
It's a big step. Like if you're averaging 5 points there and you're stepping up to the NBA, that's
he's another project. They got lucky with Porzingis being, going well. I think
can it happen again though?
Yeah, that's lightning doesn't tend to strike twice in the same spot. He's another player. If I was a top 10, if I had a top 10 draft pick, I would maybe have stayed away from.
What do you reckon, Dan?
Well, I reckon there's a little bit of potential there for him with the chance to maybe start.
Yeah,
he could be given that opportunity, but we know that there's not much in the point guard position for.
Well, with Derek Rose leaving and not much coming in, it's
Ron Baker all the way apparently.
Ron Baker, yeah. But I think I don't know. To me, I would have thought this pick would have made sense. Maybe if Greg Popovich was the coach of the Knicks.
And if it was, if they had picked 27.
And if it was 20. Well, yeah, that's what I was... Yes, but, that's the sort of scenario. Yeah. But it's not the scenario, and we know what the Knicks are like.
Well, it's funny you compare him with Terrence Ferguson, who played Adelaide
36ers the last season,
and he was the late first-round pick.
Yeah. With better range in terms of what he could do. So.
And, who's more likely to have the better NBA career will be, we're all sort of guessing at this point, but it's kind of funny how the two are so different.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it goes. I mean, and then we've got the 9th pick.
Who they could have taken. So Dennis Smith Jr. And this was the big.
We like him.
This was the big one. Cuban said that he was fist bumping a lot of people when he heard that the Knicks weren't going to take him. So there's encouraging signs for the kid coming out of college. 18 points a game at North Carolina. I think we've already seen it in the summer league where he's already very explosive, already doing crazy dunks in practice, and I think he's going to be a really exciting addition to the Mavs in an area where
there's no excitement.
Well, there's Yogi Ferrell.
There's no excitement.
NBA champion JJ.
Yeah, I've got to back them up on this one. Where there's no excitement.
Yeah. So I'm.
But he could provide that excitement for you guys.
I think he will.
I'm extremely excited about this pick, and I think
so. You should.
Yeah.
Like seriously, I think he'll add a lot. Does he start?
Yeah, I believe he'll start straight away.
Which is a good vote of confidence for him, especially he posted good numbers in the summer league, 17 points, shooting at 46%, which is that's really
decent,
good. But then you take everything with a grain of salt, obviously, because the opposition you're coming up against either the draftees or D leaguers or whoever it is. Yep. So it's not. So you take it with a grain of salt. But I mean, 17 points at 46, shooting 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. That sort of hustle, the ability to create excitement, create a buzz. It doesn't necessarily mean the Mavs are going to win more games, but
I've got him penned down for 60.
Yeah, no, I was thinking 65, but no, but what it does mean is that it creates a buzz, and if it creates a buzz, then it helps everyone, like all the other players, because it'll lift them to a different level, and hopefully, it means in a couple of years you might win 20 games.
I think going into this season, though, the one sort of question mark over him is, I would like to see a little bit more of assists in college. I mean, in summer league, and sometimes it's he was at 6 per game in college. In the summer league, it can be were the players missing the shots, or was he getting them involved in the other ones? So I'm excited for this season, and I'm excited to see Dennis Smith Jr. At the Mavs.
Coming through at the 10th pick, which we're going to go to via Sacramento, went to Portland, was Zach Collins. Haven't heard much about the big man, the 7-footer from Gonzaga. Wasn't too bad, averaged 10 points, 6 rebounds a game in his only year at college. Through his summer league matches, he only played 3, only averaged 6 points, but averaged 6 rebounds and a couple of steals. Field goal percentage is a bit concerning at 26, but I don't imagine he's taken many shots. It said that he's
he's missing a fair few shots though.
Oh yeah, exactly.
If he's taking shots, he's missing them.
Yeah, correct. But it's said that he's quite a good two-way player, good footwork, and can block a lot of shots. And I think if he can come off the bench and be the backup for Nurkic, I think they'll make a good combo. He'll make a good backup center. I don't see him starting at all. Nurkic is obviously.
Did they need him? Did they need Collins? Because
they
picked up Nurkic. I know he's not going to play the whole time, but then you've got Leonard who's shown some good signs. Yeah. He's shown a couple of good signs. He can shoot a 3. He could play the centre. Amunio, I know he's small forward, power forward, but you've got a few players that can.
There is a lot of big men in that,
and Collins just doesn't look like a ready-made player. And if you're going to trade for a centre, let's not forget they trade for him. If that's going to happen, you do not want him to be,
Well, the Portland front office can be a little bit funny at times. They
with the contracts and all that, yeah,
with their contracts and stuff and that sort of thing. So I think maybe they've panicked into, maybe potentially picking a player of need. But it's funny though because they've ended up trading Alan Crabb, and out there at number 11, Malik Monk, a shooting guard who could have played the Alan Crabb role. He's an excellent shooter. I think he was
fantastic.
Rated as probably one of the most elite threats from downtown going into the
second best shooter, I think.
Yeah, so it's just unbelievable that that's just how it ended up. So I think he'll be a really good addition, Malik Monk, to Charlotte.
There's not much in front of him. So they've got Page, they've got Lamb. Obviously, Batum will probably play the small forward, but I could see him starting at the shooting guard position with Kemba Walker, and that's a pretty dynamic backcourt. If you
It is. It's just there's not much defense there.
Jeremy Lamb.
you do have Dwight Howard now at the center position,
Yeah, no, I mean around the
backcourt. Yeah.
Jeremy Lamb's probably never really kicked on into.
No, he's never just.
He shows flashes every now and then.
The odd game he pulls out he delivers fantasy wise, but then
you have a look at the waiver wire and you just have a look at the 7 days. Oh,
Could get him,
and then you look at his extended stats. And
you dump.
I see him a bit like Michael Carter Williams in a way, just sort of haven't quite made it yet, not there. Be interesting to see how he goes.
Michael Carter Williams has a few other problems where he's can't shoot.
Exactly.
And he was unlucky to have been let go by Philly, who just didn't want to win games at the time when he was solid enough for him. And I think Michael Carter Williams is definitely one of those players that shows, especially in the NBA, because a lot of players are really talented, where it can just come down to being in the right situation with the right coach that has the utmost belief in you.
So hopefully Malik Monk, could deliver. I mean, Michael Jordan likes him.
That's a great relationship already, don't
Good enough for me. But
that's a tick of approval.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to see how he goes. But
yeah,
we've seen it before with excellent shooters coming out of college that don't make the grade. I think Nick Stauskas is a famous one for him.
Perfect one, yeah.
Jimmy Fredette a few years ago, he puts up absolute points in China, that bloke. And in the D League.
Can't seem to do it in the NBA where it matters.
But, I mean, we're talking about good shooters, and I mean, Monk, we were talking about how he was one of the best. And then the best, I guess, was Luke Kennard from Detroit. I mean, they thought he was the best shooter. That was what he was rated within the system. But, I mean, I know your notes, Jake, say that he's a little bit like Nick Stauskas.
Like we just mentioned,
like we were just saying.
I just thought they kind of play the same game. And
yeah. Well, I mean, he's not going to... No, unless Bradley plays the small forward position. But, I mean, Kennard... He looks the type that he shot 47% during the summer league, so he might be that solid shooter that comes off the bench. But will he amount to much this season? I don't think he'll do much.
No, I see him as being that 6th, 7th man coming off the bench, into scoring.
It's a bit of an awkward situation with Detroit, sort of going into where they're going to be at next year, and I think they've got question marks. Bradley's a good in for him, and I think Galloway as well. So those two might be able to help out Kennard a bit and hopefully see him
free him up a little bit.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. But each year, I think it's important to remember that there is 30 draft picks in the first round, and
you never know what's going to happen.
Going to make the grade.
Just like Donovan Mitchell. That might be a bit harsh on you. I don't really know who he is, but he's been compared to Dwayne Wade by some, so that's a good sign for him.
Well, it's a lot of pressure early on for a young guy, but the shooting guard going to Utah from Louisville, he's going to have opportunity there with Gordon Hayward not there anymore.
Yeah.
So, good luck to him.
I mean, if he's a good defensive player, Utah getting a defensive player.
Along with Rudy Gobert at the center, could be a bit.
There's no points.
He is an intense competitor, and in the NBA, effort is paramount. So
I mean, look, in the Summer League Las Vegas one, again, opposition, 28 points per game
in 2 games.
at 36%. He must have taken a lot of shots as a defensive sort of player. But that's the sort of player where if they're trading for him, they think he could do a job.
He could potentially
do something. But my favourite, I think the MVP of the Summer League was Bam Adebayo from Miami.
The cult hero.
The cult hero already. None of us go for Miami, but
thankfully
he was fantastic. He was, anytime you were looking at the box scores, he was
in there. He was there.
He was the main scorer, main rebounder, blocking, all that sort of stuff. So,
but at 35% for the field goal percentage for the Summer League, you'd want to see that bumped up a little bit. He was electrifying with his energy and that sort of stuff, so I can't wait to see him in the big show. And with the coach there with Eric Spoelstra and Pat Riley, this sort of Pat Riley culture, I think Bam's at a really good situation where he could really thrive.
Yeah.
I'd just say with the other players that could possibly play in his position, there is a lot of players there.
So might not, yeah.
So
Olynyk, Whiteside, Johnson,
and they're not bad players. Getting Olynyk,
I think Olynyk is a very good in for the.
Yeah.
Oh, completely agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
So from that, do you see him coming off the bench then?
Yeah, I think early on. I think he's still a bit raw.
I don't know if he'll get many minutes. To be
Yeah,
honest.
he'll be raw early on.
Yeah.
And we'll see how much upside he has. But he's sort of a project. But that's sort of at pick 14. That's sort of where you go risk wise.
He is that cult hero sort of guy. So if he could make it, that would be awesome for
A block here, a box out rebound there, and the Heat fans will love him, I reckon.
because they need more blocks with Whiteside in the team.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't want Bam taking too many of the blocks away because whoever owns Whiteside in next season's fantasy will be very disappointed.
Yeah, no doubt.
Cost me a game. But anyway, Justin Jackson.
At pick 15.
Discuss.
So was also in the trade picks wise to have ended up in Portland, Sacramento.
The opposite, yeah.
Yeah, so
He was traded as part of
But
the.
it's been a long day at work, right? It's been a long day at work.
He was traded as part. I think it was picks 15 and 20 for that pick 10.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Justin Jackson was part of the swap that the Kings got. Small forward, again the all round game. And I think there was excitement for the Kings in drafting Jackson because he's a good player. Like he's a good solid player. Like with everything, he's not going to be failing in too many areas. But again, that will lend him to maybe be a solid role player, sixth man potentially. I mean, who knows what he could be? Does he start? I mean, Sacramento, they've got young guys and they've got old guys. So I mean, it depends what they feel like on any given night. He might start some.
You see a lot of shuffling now, I think, at Sacramento this year.
Yeah, so I mean, you can't really predict that much, but he could be one of the guys that ends up getting those 20 minutes a game, even more if he performs well. And
Well, you can see by his shooting, averaging 18 points a game
5 rebounds
at college and averaging 17 in the summer league. Like
And Vince Carter will help.
Yeah, Vince Carter will be able to help him, guide him through.
Yeah,
We all know how good Vince Carter is/was.
yeah. / could be in the future.
Depending how long he goes.
Were you guys surprised that Vince Carter went to the Sacramento Kings?
Yes, along with
Zach
Randolph. Yeah. So
I
I mean,
Bit of
and
an
George
interest-
Hill. But I guess that's them bringing in those older players as role models and as guys that can help lead the
The young blokes, yeah.
the younger
Were you
guys.
surprised that Vince Carter decided to go to the Kings and not Golden State and win a ring?
Would he have even done anything? I know he would have got a ring anyway, not doing anything. But
Yeah, maybe he didn't.
maybe he wants to have some sort of effect on the team, and even if it's 1 year at the Kings.
Maybe
we don't know what.
Maybe it's that coaching thing. Maybe
Something
it's
like
that coaching
Possibly.
aspect in his head.
Possibly, maybe still wants to play significant minutes.
I think he'll get serious minutes, but he wants to have some sort of effect that will last for the Kings
And he'll have
for a team. And the Kings, I mean, they've got some good young talent.
plenty of
hypothetically.
he'll have plenty of input on that in that team as well,
Absolutely.
as well as the coaches. I
Yeah.
reckon he's experienced enough.
Yeah. So I mean, in terms of the summer league,
Yeah, so with these top 15 players, sorry to cut you off there, Dan. Who-
as usual.
Who do you guys have picked as the rookie of the year?
I mean, Lonzo Ball, I think, will get the best opportunities.
Yep.
And
He's
whether
gonna-
he takes it or not is the difference between him winning or losing. I think he'll win it because it's Lonzo Ball. Like, I don't
He's
know,
destined to win it, probably.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, who do you think?
What about Ben Simmons?
that's what I was just
Yeah.
about to mention. There is a lot of hype over Ben this year.
I don't think he'll get as many. He'll be important, but I still think they'll ease him in because they are scared about his injuries.
As they have been with
Yeah,
all their
Which
other
is
players that
not-
have been
I don't
injured.
think that's the right way to go about it, but
Do you think the right way is Ben Simmons playing?
I think at the start, I think
Heaps?
he's 25 minutes and then work up to 30.
Does he start?
So,
Yeah.
yeah, he's
Start
Um,
small forward or something like that?
But with Lonzo Ball as well, do you guys think that every time he puts in a good performance, it's just going to get hyped up like absolute crazy
Absolutely.
for days, and then the games come thick and fast in the NBA. So then you miss 3 games where he has 6 points and 2 assists and shoots 27%. And
I think anything Lakers related will be Lonzo Ball related. So any talk about the Lakers will involve Lonzo Ball until the end of the season, where it's about Paul George and Russell Westbrook. But right now, I think he's the one. I know Ben Simmons, and I mean, hopefully he's really, really good. Has a really good season, but it's already balls to lose purely because of hype. Because we know how much that has an effect on awards like these.
Yeah, well, you can see him posting triple doubles in the summer league, and just little things like that that sort of will push him over the edge. Also, obviously, LeVar pushing him well over the edge.
A slightly different take, but who's your favourite of the draft picks?
Favourite in terms of where they went, or favourite in terms of
also-
how?
How's yours, Dennis Smith Jr.?
I'm a big fan of Dennis Smith Jr.
Yeah.
But I'm also a big fan of the Malik Monk pick.
Okay.
I think, even though there are question marks about shooters all the time, I think he might be a little bit different. So, but I think Dennis Smith Jr. at 9. I'm also a huge fan of De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I'm a massive fan of De'Aaron Fox at 5.
If he could just pump up his 3-point shooting a little bit more, it's going to be...
Get in the gym, shoot.
Yeah.
Have
Yeah.
George Hill as your mentor.
I think, I
do
like
some
him
work.
as well. I think I like Josh Jackson. I'm really big on him. So hopefully he gets some serious minutes, and hopefully he improves those key areas that would take him to be a really good NBA player quite quickly. Because I think there's a lot of talent there.
Just quickly, a bit of a roughie. Any roughies you have besides obviously the obvious?
Terrence Ferguson making
Terrence Ferguson,
an all-rookie team.
I reckon Malik Monk is a huge chance if he can shoot well. If he averaged 22, 23 points.
I think Justin Jackson might be my smoky pick to make an all-rookie team for the NBA. First or second, doesn't matter. But I think he'll get some good minutes. I think he'll develop really quickly.
He'll have a
because
chance.
He's that solid player already. Like, he's someone that can come in and already have an impact.
Away from the rookies this podcast, so there's been some big stuff going on with Isaiah Thomas and his deal to the Cavs. I think we're all a bit shocked last week when it got announced. If the deal does go down as it is,
and it will go down.
okay, with Crowder and Isaiah Thomas going to the Cavs,
And Zizic,
Zigic, and
first
And
round.
the first round pick as well.
the Brooklyn first round pick, which likely to be top 3 or top 5.
Exactly right. Which then they can trade on if want.
Who do you think wins that trade?
Well, trades always come as whoever gets the best player
So I like Boston.
wins it.
I like
wins the
Boston.
trade. That's what I've always thought. I think whoever gets the better player out of the deal, they're going to be able to provide more.
I'm not that big on IT, as in not as he's a really good player, but I think Kyrie is much better than him.
Do you think that you wouldn't win? You don't win a title with Isaiah Thomas as your best or second best?
He could be your
it
second
depends
best.
where it fits in. At Cleveland, do I think that they can win? Yeah, I think they can win.
Yeah.
But it's because they've got
LeBron
yeah.
and Kevin Love and
Yeah,
Crowder.
so they've got a lot of those guys. So, but I think I'd prefer to be Boston here. Bringing in Kyrie, I think that's enormous for them. Like, I'd rather be that. You don't know what the pick becomes. Like, that's obviously if it's top 3 and they keep it, that's amazing for them. But I would prefer to have the guy that's 4 years younger than IT, and he's a genuine star. Whereas I think IT is like a level below.
It's such a unique case though, where the winner of the trade might just be decided next May when the two teams are playing each other in conference finals.
Which is most likely to
I
happen.
don't think there's a real loser either. Just by one. Yeah.
But because Cleveland, there's still talk that LeBron's not happy. He's not going to stay past next season.
He's at end of contract.
Yeah, and they've positioned themselves into at least sort of start to build again for the future with a top round pick. Now, with Kyrie still there, where are they in a year's time when LeBron leaves and then Kyrie's got 1 year less on his contract to deal with? So I personally have Cleveland a little bit ahead. I think the Crowder addition to play alongside LeBron James on the wings will be
He's a good player.
exciting. And I think Celtics have got the star that they need to beat the Cavs.
Yeah, I think they've done really well considering they knew what was going to happen. Like Indiana didn't. Like Indiana should have done this type of deal for Paul George.
Well,
They could have, where like this is a
They
sort of
could have
deal
worked
where
something.
Kyrie was halfway out the door, and if he stayed at Cleveland, it would have been toxic. So they've done really, really well. But I still think Boston comes out. They're the strongest team in the East.
Well, Indiana sold George for cents on the dollar in the end.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it's gonna be, it's gonna be an exciting season.
Yep.
And I think that in the East now, you can make going this time 2 weeks ago, I would say, well, you're still probably going to put Cleveland ahead of Celtics by a fair bit.
Yeah.
Even with the Gordon Hayward addition. But now, Kyrie, unbelievable scorer. will have a point to prove. But
he can be good defensively, even though he probably drops off a bit. Though.
Can that lineup though, with Gordon Hayward, Kyrie, Al Horford, would that be able to beat the Warriors? So it's a long time away, and a lot of things can happen.
I mean, I do have the Celtics just getting past the Cavs this year into the finals. But
I think OKC will be the ones to make it to the finals, so I don't think the Celtics will have to worry about Golden State. But, I mean, hypothetically, if they were to be the two teams to play off, I still think Warriors are too strong, even with Kyrie at Celtics. I think Tatum needs to come on quick, really well for the Celtics to be...
All the young guys need to develop quickly.
I think Tatum in particular, he could be such an X factor for them that enough to be someone that helps them really challenge.
Yeah, 100%.
So, it's about 50 days to go until the NBA season.
Exciting.
It's come up quickly.
Yeah, I said that with a straight face, but really, that's exciting.
And I think with some of the additions that's been made by some teams and a couple of the trades that have gone down, I really think it's going to be potentially the most exciting season yet, and hopefully... In
a long time, yeah.
Hopefully it's not dominated by one or two teams, because last season we spent most of the time just waiting for the June matchup between the Warriors and the Cavs.
Yeah, no, it's certainly an exciting time, and
I think everyone's really hoping for something different.
Yeah.
It's been the Cavs and the Warriors the last 3 years, I think.
And that's why Houston and OKC and, them strengthening makes it compelling.
So I think we're going to wrap it up there. Thanks to the boys for coming in and talking about the top 15 picks in the end. And make sure, if you haven't already, to follow us on Twitter at NBJBpod to find out when our next podcast will be released and what it will be on. And also follow us on SoundCloud, No Brains, Just Ball. Make sure to join us on our next podcast, and thanks for listening.